Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 10th, and today we're taking a look at the GO-17 visible satellite imagery here. You can see some glorious sunshine for much of the region here, except for really western Washington, southwest BC. As you can see, some lower clouds. It's going to take a while for these to burn off completely. I love looking at the GO-17 satellite imagery here. You can see individual features such as Mount Rainier, for example. And once fire season gets going, you can really pinpoint these forest fires and see how much smoke they're emitting. So if you want to check that out, Google GO-17 satellite imagery, and this one is available here on the University of Washington website. So zooming out a little bit here, infrared satellite imagery, you can see this trough digging out here. It's going to allow this ridge to build for Monday and Tuesday and let us warm up a bit. But you can see British Columbia is dealing with some precipitation with this little miniature atmospheric river event going on up here. Not a lot of precipitation, definitely no flooding, so not much to worry about. It's just bringing clouds and some light rain to the area. Checking out the Pacific Ocean here, you see the trade winds moving across the ocean. That's affecting the Hawaiian Islands. If you ever spend any time out there, you know about the trade winds out there. And we have tropical systems out here across the eastern Pacific, and you can see we have a strong cutoff here. There's some much cooler water that moves down the coast of North America versus the much warmer water that exists out here across the eastern Pacific. So when these tropical systems get established, they move over this cooler water and they rapidly lose their deep convection. You can kind of still see the momentum here, the spin from this old tropical system, but it really doesn't have any deep convection associated with it because of the lack of warm water now. Now taking a look at SeaTac. 3 straight 77-degree days. That's the hat trick. Today, the average high is 77, but we might not make it. I'm thinking more around 74 today for SeaTac. We'll see how that turns out. But we're going to warm back up again a bit tomorrow, probably into the low 80s for Seattle, and then maybe mid 80s on into Tuesday, a little tiny miniature heat wave, or should we say warm wave. Now, checking out the UW site here, this shows 1.33 kilometer integrated cloud water here, and this is Sunday morning. If we put this into motion here, you kind of see these low clouds and the timing of when they'll burn off. It shows about 12 or 1 before these low clouds have burned off across the Puget Sound. Then we'll start to warm things up quite a bit more. You can still see some high clouds around the region, but there's all kinds of great models here on the UW site. I highly recommend checking it out. I'll show you a few more of them here. This is Washington, again, 1.33 kilometer domain. That's less than a mile, each one of these grid points here. This is 2-meter temperature. And as we scroll through the day today, there's 2 p.m., 5 p.m. as we really warm up through eastern Washington, low 70s for Puget Sound. And you can kind of see that cooling effect of the Puget Sound Strait of Juan de Fuca, the Washington-Oregon coast, a little bit colder, warmer down towards Portland, down into the Willamette Valley, upper 70s, maybe an 80-degree reading down there possible. And you see the much chillier air that resides across the Cascades once you get up in that terrain. Now you can see here, this is zoomed in, Puget Sound. You can see as we get towards the hot part of the day here, 6 p.m., you can see the cooling effects of Puget Sound right up along the immediate shoreline. If you move in even just a mile or so sometimes, Normandy Park, SeaTac, you can see how it warms up versus the chillier air right along the Puget Sound. Sometimes if I drive just, less than a mile, you can see big swings in temperature. Des Moines versus just going up towards the I-5 corridor, for example. And you can see the really great terrain features here of the foothills and the Cascade Mountain range here for western Washington, the Olympic Mountains. You can see the cooler air residing up here in the Strait of Juan de Fuca. You can see these individual wind barbs spaced out here very closely together, showing those westerly winds coming down the strait. So some great models here. And this shows 10-meter wind gust. You can kind of use this, mariners out on the Puget Sound. You can kind of see where those stronger northerly winds are going to be right through the Puget Sound versus kind of up towards Whidbey Island, for example, or the Strait of Juan de Fuca, where they might be a little bit stronger. So some great models here at the University of Washington. You can see this is Columbia River. There's the Dalles here, Pendleton, Kennewick, Yakima. Here's the Oregon coast, includes Portland as well. You can see those northerlies coming down the coastline there. So check that out if you want on the UW site. Now this is looking at the NAM3KM here. This is looking at this afternoon, 73 for Seattle, upper 70s for the Willamette Valley, a little bit chillier on the coastline, of course, higher terrain, and the classic summer pattern of eastern Washington, Oregon being a little bit warmer as well. Now looking at it and extended a little bit here. Here's yesterday afternoon's run for the European. It goes out a little bit further. There's that troughing that's allowing that ridging to build up over us for a couple of days, and you can see we're going to cool off a bit as we go through midweek. And then we build another trough down here, and I'm kind of curious to see what this brings. It may bring some more thunderstorm threat for eastern portions of BC, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and up through Canada. We'll see how that goes in the upcoming days here. We can see this really strong ridge building across central southwest portions of the USA. The monsoon should be going good, and we should warm up across central portions of the USA pretty well. You'll probably hear about that in the news as well. Now, this is looking at the GFS. Let's see what it says today. Look, it's still calling for these upper 70 for Seattle. I don't know that we're going to get there today with these morning clouds, and you can see even to low 80s for Portland down here, chillier along the coast and hotter inland as per usual. Let's check out the GFS. This is the 12Z. Let's update this, make sure we have the most recent information. And you can see that good agreement with the troughing out there, ridge over us, and then brings that marine influence midweek across some of the region here. This big ridge building across central portions of the USA, models in good agreement there. And then the secondary trough out here kind of hangs out. So we'll see what this does. We'll see if we introduce any thunderstorm threat across Pacific Northwest with this associated troughing here. And as we go, I wanted to show you this really quick here. You can kind of see this system moving into British Columbia here, bringing that precipitation for southeast Alaska and extreme western BC, especially the coastal areas north of Vancouver Island for the most part. And it kind of loses its steam as it moves southward here a bit. Now, looking at this just for fun, here's the precipitable water. You can kind of see a little miniature atmospheric river there, not even really a category 1 or anything. Just kind of interesting, just showing that these features do exist even in the summertime. They just become much less pronounced. Now, looking here, GFS Seattle, I mean, showing 82 degrees today. This is definitely a little bit warm, at least for today. Probably low 80s and mid 80s for Tuesday before we cool down a bit. And we'll just have to see how far that trough extends towards the Pacific Northwest in the extended. If it hangs offshore more, we could build more of the ridging and warm back up a little bit on in through later next week and the weekend. But you can see pretty pleasant seasonable temperatures, nice summertime pattern setting up here for the Pacific Northwest. Here's the GFS for today, calling for a nice hot day tomorrow and maybe another very hot day on the day Tuesday before we try to discern the details of the next troughing that's going to come in mid and later next week. So this is for GFS Spokane. You can see the warm-up coming Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll try to work out the features on the extended, maybe in a thunderstorm as we get towards later next week with that trough. GFS Seattle-Tacoma kind of showing you the ensemble members here. Pretty good agreement of a nice summertime pattern coming up here. No crazy extremes. The GFS likes to tend to be on the hot side, so I kind of would throw out these 90-degree temperatures as of right now. But it looks like we're going to be in the 70s, maybe even around 80 for a while on it to extended. This goes all the way up to July 26th, which is fantasy land, but just kind of showing you that. So, yeah, get out and enjoy the sunshine again today after these clouds burn off. It's going to be quite a nice day across much of the region. Willamette Valley is already enjoying some nice sunshine. Oregon coast, eastern Washington, east slopes, really nice. So we'll have to wait our turn here in western Washington and southwest BC. And then we're going to warm up tomorrow and Tuesday, and I'll do another forecast tomorrow. We'll check out some of these temperatures again. We'll look at some of these high-resolution models. Also, we'll try to pinpoint where the cooler areas versus the warmer areas will be. So hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.